So about 6 months ago, we started construction, we broke ground, and in that short time, we have cleared the site, we've felled the trees, we've grubbed, and we've started excavation. And the big milestone, as you can see, is the first piles that are being drilled.
This is pretty. What is this?
This is our ceremonial first part of the foundation. So, because that's what's being done today. So the rig right there, this is maybe a good example, right? So this is one of the rigs that helps drill the piles, these large concrete pillars that are being drilled into the bedrock, and that's what the fab will sit on. Those piles are about 48 inches in diameter. To give an idea, there'll be about 1,800 of those. Okay, this is a good vantage point. So if you can see where the red crane is, and then the other drill rig that's like this one here that's out there, that's where those first piles are going. So that is roughly the center of the first fab. And then if you go a couple hundred yards this direction, which is towards the southwest, that's where the edge of the first fab will be, and that's where we're going to start building, because the bedrock is a little bit closer to the ground. So that allows us to go faster, get the first part up, get it into weather tight. So about a year from now, when people drive by, they'll see what looks like a building. Now, it won't be to weather tight yet, but they'll really see the construction.
Yeah, and I mean, people know from other construction projects, even their home, there's got to be somewhat of a frame that you can see the resemblance of a structure, but it's not quite usable yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly right.
So this does what again? And I know you've got one out there actually at work, and this one here. What is it? What is this? Drills into the ground?
Yeah, that's right. So the way the piers are going to work is we'll drill down and we'll create a caisson. For anyone who's not familiar with it, it's kind of like a form that allows us to pour concrete underground. Sometimes it's used underwater too. And because this site has a relatively high water table, we need to be able to put the fab up above that water level, because the lowest level of the fab is where electrical gear and other sensitive things are. And that's maybe another thing for people to understand. When we say 600,000 square feet for a clean room, that's just the footprint. There's 4 levels, right? Each 18 feet high. So, and then after that, there's another 600,000 square feet of support buildings. So our admin building, probe, everything else, and that's just one fab.
Let's walk a little closer to the perimeter here.
One other thing I want to draw attention to,
Sure.
So these are water tanks. So there's obviously traffic on the roads, but one of the things we want to make sure we're doing is controlling the impact of that as much as possible. So as you drove in, you probably saw some of our sweeper trucks, our water trucks. That helps keep the dust down from the trucks and try to minimize that as much as possible.
Wow, yeah. So spray. We've seen it when demolition happens too. You spray water on dust, and it keeps it down.
Exactly.
Just speak to what we're seeing out here. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah. So what you're seeing is a lot of the mass excavation that's still happening. So as mentioned, high water table, we're removing the dirt, and as much as possible, we reuse that on site. So for landscaping berms and things like that. So when people drive by on a finished site, they'll see more of a natural landscape and less of the buildings. So that dirt is being replaced by sand and stone. We just hit 1 million tons of sand and stone that's already been delivered. It'll end up being 1.3 million cubic yards total. And today that's being brought in by dump trucks. But if we look that direction and kind of see where that little white dot is over the earth pile there, that's where the rail spur is under construction. So hit first concrete on that. By the end of the year, that'll be operational. That'll help us take a lot of trucks off the road, because each rail car can bring about 5 dump trucks worth of sand and stone. It'll go onto a conveyor that comes over Codner Road and it's delivered. And it's more efficient too. So each rail car emits about 75% less greenhouse gas.
I know Micron has been sensitive to making sure that the neighborhood stays as low key as possible when it comes to all this construction work. But is the worst of the truck traffic happening now before the rail spur?
Yeah, that's the way to think of it, right? Because with the rail spur, we'll be able to remove some of the trucks. It'll be used not only for the sand and stone, but construction materials and potentially some operation materials as well.
So trucks will continue when the rail spur is open, but you think it'll be a lot less?
It'll be less.
Yeah. A lot of trucks now, like what's the frequency? It just seems like I've been by and it just seems every few minutes there's a new truck.
Yeah, there's hundreds per day right now. Yeah, and you can see that we're trying to use bigger trucks, right? So these are not your average dump truck, and that'll help us reduce the number of trucks as well and reduce the trips.
And that's bringing fill in.
That's right.
Because did you have to take some fill out, or I know that there are sensitivities to the vibration and you need a really solid foundation. So speak to why all those steps need to happen.
Good question. So we are bringing some out as much as possible. We try to minimize that. The foundation needs to be very solid, not only from a vibration standpoint, but also just the water table, the management of that. Those are the primary reasons that we have to replace the dirt with sand and stone. It helps make sure that when we get our cold snaps around here and things freeze, then those piles don't move, right? They stay stable.
Right. Great.
Yeah. This is the foundation technique, by the way, is proven for semiconductor fabs and has also been used widely in the region. So that's one of the reasons we felt comfortable with it. And for us, the first layer of the fab is electrical gear. So with the high water table, we have to make sure that we don't expose that to water intrusion. That's why it's being built the way it is.
So about where we're standing, this hasn't been really dealt with yet, right? I mean, it's been flattened down for other things, but is this about where the fab will be built at this level, or could you compare for us what you'll actually do?
So the fab will be built at roughly this level. So, and there's a lot of engineering that goes into that because one of the things we have to manage is the storm water that comes. So we're building the fab at an appropriate elevation so that when water comes down from rain or snow melt, then it flows in the right way. Now, in terms of where we're going to be, this is not where the fab will be itself. So you can see the rigs back there, and then it'll extend this way. And then the front part of the site where we are is where probe and admin buildings will be. Just to give people an idea of the size and scale, the admin buildings, if you walk from one end to the other, once all 4 fabs are built, it's about 1.1 miles.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Good way to get your steps in.
So this will be somewhat, where we're standing will become the front of the campus where administration will be, and the first fab is being built. Would you call that behind us?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, we're building west to east on the site. So closest to Caldenoy Road, and then we'll work our way towards Route 11. So, which reminds me, actually, one of the other construction projects that we'll see started this fall is the driveway that'll connect from Route 11 to the site. So it'll come across the east side, and that'll also help provide some traffic relief because it's another avenue for employees, for trades, as well as trucks to come in. And then when we do the road construction that needs to happen, it'll help take some of the relief off of the interstate exchanges.
Impressive from the ground, but even more so from high above.
So for you, what's it like to stand up here?
You know, it's a special day, right? It's been a lot of time, a lot of work to get to this point, but I think when we see the impact not only on the site but on the community, then it makes all the hard work worthwhile. And maybe just to tell a quick story, I was talking to one of the team members that works for us. He grew up around here. He had to move around for work, and with his project, he was able to come home. And I was talking to him, what are you doing for your weekend? He said, well, I'm making plans with my brother. Kids around the same age, so they're going to hang out. And stories like that, I think, help make all the work. So maybe some other orientation and talking about what is going to come on the site. So we talked about the rail spur. We talked about where the fab is. As mentioned, there's a lot of support buildings. So on the western side of the campus will be where our first wastewater treatment building is. So we do a high level of reuse and recycling of the water on site as much as possible before it's sent off site for further treatment. So that's what that building is. There's a central utilities building where our large HVAC systems, electrical gear, and things like that go. And then there's also a bulk gas yard. So one thing I think a lot of people don't know about our industry is we use a significant amount of nitrogen, argon, and oxygen. Rather than truck that in, we have a plant on site that pulls that out of the air for our operation, so it's more efficient.
What's amazing when I look at this map is it looks like a full campus, but it's really what's surrounding and supporting one fab.
That's right.
So you can almost multiply that by 4 when this is said and done.
That's exactly right, yes. Yeah.
The scale is incredible. How do you help people understand the scale of this?
Part of it is just seeing it, right? I think as people drive by, we talked about how much distance it is on the admin buildings. Maybe the other thing to help understand is as we go and ramp up our workforce, which we'll be doing over the next couple of years, is it's not just engineers and technicians that we hire. Each fab, each site is like its own little company. So we have HR, we have finance, we have information technology. So for the people who are listening and are interested in a career in Micron, if you're not an engineer, that's okay. We still have a need for your skills and encourage you not only to look for the jobs that are posted here in New York, but start in Idaho, come here, right, and help that fab first because they're a couple years ahead.
You talked about the mitigation to dust from the water trucks. You talk about the reduction of truck traffic once the rail spur is here. Noise has also been brought up, maybe a hum that people hear coming from the campus. Can you explain what that is and how do you help evolve the noise coming from here, mitigate that when it gets even louder?
It's a good question, and I think we studied this quite a bit in our EIS. So there's a couple different things that we're doing to mitigate that. Some of it is our working hours, and some of it is making sure that if we do activities like blasting, which we have started to do a few of those, we do those during daytime hours. In some cases, we're going to be putting up temporary noise walls as well, where it makes sense. And then there is that hum at the same time. When we studied it, we said, okay, if we look at what level of decibels we're seeing from the operation, and then what it is if you're at home and your door is closed, it's not something that you're going to be able to really detect. So
what is the hum?
So the hum is all the equipment, right? You can see we've got about a couple hundred people on site right now because most of it's operations, it's big equipment. But fast forward to about a year from now, and it'll be in the thousands as we have a lot more skilled trades who are helping build the buildings.
What do you make of the evolution in just a couple months?
It's really rapid progress. I think in 6 months to see this happen is very encouraging, and it's a little ahead of schedule too. So we're proud of where we're at. We have to keep the momentum going, and a lot of that's due to not only the team that we've hired, their passion, but also the partners that we have, Gilbane, Bechtel, and then the partners of the community. It really takes a lot of people to make this happen. We're thankful for all the support we get.
I know the environmental review process was stubborn, and so everyone was just like, when are we going to get started? Mm-hmm. But now look at it. You're flying by 6 months to go from a forest and a field to laying concrete. Is it remarkable even to you?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I've worked on projects close to this size before, but to see this happen in the US is really a dream come true, right? And 20 years working in the industry, and most of it has been here in the US, but when we've ramped new fabs, it's historically been overseas.
You're drilling into the ground, you're putting concrete foundations tied to the bedrock. The purpose of that, why such precision? Why such proof of vibration?
Well, the heart of the fab is the photolithography equipment. So to give an idea of how sensitive that equipment is, we're aligning things within a couple nanometers, right? So that's 1/1,000,000th of a meter. So if there's any vibration that happens from, say, the freight rail line or the trucks, it will interrupt our process. So it's very important that the foundation is extremely solid, and then there's also an appropriate amount of setback from where the vibration sources are external to the campus.
And then from here, where would the fourth fab go?
So, you can see Burnett Road right there. It's hard to describe because we haven't cleared the trees over there yet, and we're not doing that until we really need to. But if you go roughly another mile, that's where the next fab is going to go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for the time. Congratulations on this milestone.